Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall
Hey, what's up, everybody?
and Michael Reed.
Yo, what's up?
And we're also joined by Redskins right tackle Morgan Moses. Round of applause, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, Morgan. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope, how's the quarantine fitting you so far?
Man, it's actually been great, man. Obviously, you miss a part of the biggest part of the season when you're getting all the guys together and stuff. But I know for other football players that have families, man, it's been great to just be able to spend time with the kids and just be around.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the looks of it, looks like we got you mid-workout. So that goes into my question for you. How have you been working out in the off-season, especially with the quarantine? How has that affected your usual workouts?
Well, it really hasn't affected me at all, man.
Awesome.
I just built the house and moved in on Thanksgiving during the season.
Right.
So I have my own gym, 10 yards of turf in the house. So I've kind of created my own workout place.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't gotta wear that mask at a local gym.
Exactly. Just over here, just like
Can't breathe.
Absolutely. And so, Morgan, the transition of this coaching regime, it's energized the fan base. There's a lot of positivity flowing around, and the Redskins last year obviously is probably one of the lowest of lows that we've been as Redskins fans. But I have to ask you, what is your feeling with this coaching regime? Obviously, you've only been able to do the kind of Zoom interviews with them. But what is your takeaway from the coaching regime that's come into play?
Dude, it's been great. I mean, obviously, it's a different time of football right now because of the quarantine and all that stuff. But the Zoom meeting's been great, man. I've had personal conversations with Coach Rivera. 3 months ago, my father passed, and Coach Rivera reached out to me, and that was the first person that reached out to me. So it was like, man, like this dude really cares, man. Like, in the conversations I've had about him, it's just like it's been family, because the one thing for me is like I've been on the team for 7 years, and we've had undeniable talent on the offense. Like, I mean, you talk about Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, Kirk Cousins, Jordan Reed, healthy. We've had number one playoff team talent, and I think the one thing that we haven't been able to put together is just being a family and playing for one another instead of just playing for stats and statistics and stuff like that. So. And that's one thing that he's preaching. Is like, man, we got to be a family. We got to be a unit, man. We got to get the families in here because if your home is not right, it's not going to be right in the football field. And he's just creating this whole vibe about unity, and it's just been great for us so far.
I'm sorry to hear about your father, by the way, Morgan.
Yeah, so much.
Thank you, man.
But that was a big thing that we heard about Ron Rivera coming. Of course, when we hired him, it's just every single player that played for him talked about how he stresses family and how important it is and how he likes to build camaraderie that way. And that's awesome to see that that's already taken shape, even though you guys couldn't be at the facility.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been great, man. You got to take it for what it is, obviously, because the coronavirus and all those things. But I think it's been a great transition, man.
Yeah, let me ask you, look, the Redskins, they spent the number 2 overall pick on Chase Young. Now, you are an expert in the area of protecting the quarterback, so I have to ask you, what does Chase Young's ability bring to you as a blocker, to an offensive lineman? What does his combination of things, how does it kind of match up to you? Like, if you were to break it down, like, what separates him from normal pass rushers?
I mean, I think, often in college, man, you get these athletes that are just athletic, bro. They're freakish athletic, but haven't really been coached as well because, college systems are a lot different than NFL systems. But, just watching Chase and seeing how he pass rushes, you can tell that every move that he uses against the offensive tackle is something that he practices all the time. He's a raw talent. He has speed, power, agility to move around the edge, to dip around the edge. And it's rare to see a guy like that, man. I mean, it's only a handful of guys like that in the NFL. One guy that's right behind me right here is mention of it. And I think for us as an offensive line, obviously besides me, we have new tackles in. So to be able to get these varieties of rushers, Ryan Kerrigan, Ryan Anderson, Chase Young, you got Montez Sweat, being able to get to line up against those dudes in training camp, and get different types of rushes, I think it's going to be great for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Chase Young is in that defensive line. You already know about it. You've practiced against them the last 2 or 3 years. And Morgan, one thing I want to give credit to you for, you've played in every single game going back to 2015, and it's not like you haven't been like injured or had injuries. You've
pretty
played.
Hey,
serious
look,
injuries too.
I want to say, I want to say thank you for acknowledging that because, little Morgan Moses over here gets beat up by these fans all the time, and I'm like, dude, like I'm out here playing with one leg, bro, like
Out there playing with a torn
playing here with
tendon.
one leg, man.
Yeah,
You've been in your
so
corner, man. We've been defending you and everything.
right. So I have to ask you, Morgan, like I really do acknowledge the kind of work that you've put in as being a Washington Redskin. I really do appreciate it. So if you could give like any sort of advice to an up-and-coming NFL player or college player, how to take care of their body and how to be able to battle through those injuries like you have.
For me, man, I was one of those young rookies that came in and automatically thought that I'm young, I can recover, because you get to college, man, and you're so used to playing in games on Saturday, going to party on Saturday night, and then go back in the weight room. And where here, it's just different, man. You're among grown men. But I had a veteran guy named Jason Hatcher, who we had my rookie year, and my rookie and my second year, and his locker was beside me. We had got him from the Dallas Cowboys, and he played defensive tackle. And he's the one that kind of told me, like, hey, bro, you got all the tools in the world, but you got to take care of your body. You got to invest in your body. And he took me under his wing, man. We went to we started going to yoga together. We started, dieting together and all these certain things. And I just started learning more and more about my body. And the one thing that he told me was, hey, like, you're only going to get out of your body what you put in. So if you put $20 in your body, you're going to get $20 out of it. Right. And that ain't going to go too far. So I've learned to just, obviously, you have to do stuff outside of the facility. Guys get so homed in like, oh man, I did rehab at the park, I'm good. No, it continues, bro. Like, when I leave the park, man, I come back home, I spend time with my kids go to sleep. My rehab guy comes in for about 2 hours. We get stuff done. And then, usually I'm watching film, so I don't go to sleep until 11:30 at night because I'm just honing in on just things that I need to do throughout the week, because I feel like if I could prepare myself earlier on the week, then when I get into the game on Sunday, I've already won the battle because mentally and physically I've already reset my body for that matchup.
Well, that's great to hear, and a lot of insight, because we have to ask the question. Playing in the NFL is so hard, and to be able to play every single game for 5 seasons is incredibly impressive. So I don't want to get you in trouble, Morgan, with the boys and the guys on the team, but I have to ask you, if there was a player that you could pick that you think is going to have the bounce back year, is going to really excel under the Ron Rivera coaching regime, who do you think it's going to be?
I'm not going to call it a bounce back year. And
okay,
I think you guys already know.
I
think you guys already know who I'm going to say, and I'm going to say Dwayne Haskins. I'm probably one of the closest guys to Dwayne, just on because it's rough being a rookie, man, and right. He got thrown in the fire late, and a lot of the things he wasn't coached up on, and he was young, and so he made a lot of mistakes as well. So just getting along, but the biggest thing was, man, if you look at him now, man, he's changed his body fully. Oh yeah. And that is the key, man. That tells you right there that guy turned from a college player to a professional. Now, it's on him to get in there and study the books and stuff like that. But if you look at his arm, man, he looks like me in high school, dude. Like,
oh my God.
He looks like I was throwing the ball in high school. So, I'm just saying the sky's the limit for the guy, man. I've talked to him several occasions, man, and he's a brother of mine. And I think he's ready, man. His mindset, his mental, just the way he talks when we were just in conversation together. He's just dialed in, man.
Yeah, and it immediately brings up to mind that one video that got surfaced of you on the sideline when Dwayne was asking the offensive line guys, and you were the one guy saying, Dwayne, like trying to get it to calm down, I guess. And that really stuck out to me, because that was like more of like a sincere gesture by you more than as a dismissal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, when you're a young rookie, and, we played a Jets team who has an unbelievable talented player in Jamal Adams. He's definitely the best safety in the NFL to me.
Oh, yeah.
Just what he brings to the table in coverage and just coming off the edge and blitzing, man. I think the guy had 6 or 7 sacks last year as a safety.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So, and I think that was one of Dwayne's first starts, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
dialing up against a defense, I think their defense coordinator at the time was Greg Williams. And so, like, I played against Greg Williams in his defense when he was in when he was in Green Bay. So I've known, he's a blitz heavy guy. And so, it gets a little confusing for, a young rookie back there. But, Dwayne, we had our conversations and we're able to, hash it out and just, get them on the same page, man. And just, I think the sky's the limit, man. I think the offense that we're going to run is conducive to what he loves to do, and I think it's going to be great, man.
And speaking of that, if you could, what is the difference with like Scott Turner's offense? Is it because I know he does a lot of pre-snap motions and everything? What is the offense based on what you've seen with the playbook and everything? Is there anything crazy different about this offense this year?
A lot of it is some of the same plays that we've ran in previous years. It's just dressing them up, man. I think,
right.
Over the years of being on the Washington Redskins, since we lost Sean McVay, man, our offense became a little bit one-dimensional. So being able to have those pre-motions and disguise where the safety, whether in man coverage, cover 2, cover 3, that only helps Dwayne as well to determine where the ball is going as well. So I think bringing those aspects to the game for Dwayne is going to allow him to thrive this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I wanted to ask you real quick is if there is a player that you've gone against over the past, you've been in the league for a while, who is a favorite player that you've played with or gone against?
Favorite player that I played with
or gone against?
Well, I'm gonna leave the favorite players I played with because I don't say the right name. You know what I'm saying? I might get kicked by the right guard that's beside me.
Right.
But guys that I played against, man, like I would say Khalil Mack and Von Miller, man. I think, and then I would say Alden Smith too, man. Like I had a chance to go against Alden Smith my rookie year, bro.
Yeah.
And you don't
People
find
forget how good he was.
Yeah, you don't find a guy that's 6'6" with long arms like he is and able to do the things that he does. So I'm happy to even see him get another shot in the NFL, man, because the guy was so talented. And so I'm excited to see what he has. But, Von Miller, man, Khalil Mack, man, those guys are, those guys. I've trained with Von in Miami before, and just to see his work ethic and actually the year we were playing them, I trained with them that summer. And if you ask Von, he probably wouldn't say this, but I watched them every day. I got to cheat on him early, man. But I mean, I think every guy, DeMarcus Lawrence, man, the guy that I go against in the conference and stuff like that, man, it's just a great talent, man. You look at the guys that we go against in the conference with the Eagles, the Dallas,
Brandon Graham.
Yeah, exactly, man. So Fletcher Cox is just a number of guys in our conference alone that we go against, man. And I just enjoy, the battles every year.
And so, Morgan, before we let you go, I have to ask the question. I know it's obvious, but given with what we've seen with the number 2 overall pick with Chase Young and the coaching regime transitioning over with Ron Rivera and company, how far do you see the Redskins bouncing back a lot more this year? Where do you think the Redskins will fall this season based on what your beliefs?
I think we've always had talent, man. We've always been talented. You look at the receiving core, you have a young receiving core. Talking to Coach Rivera, one of the reason why he wanted to come here is because he knew that they had a dominant offensive line and a dominant defensive line. And if you can win the game, he believes if you can win the game up front, man, and dominate up front, man, everything else will take care of itself. So, just alone with the guys, the defensive line, the number of, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis, the four pass rushers they have, and then the offensive line, and then, Adrian Peterson, obviously. I think the sky's the limit for us, man. I think, the thing is getting us in the building, and practicing. I think that's the biggest thing in building that camaraderie on the field as we have already off the field. So I think the sky's the limit for us.
Oh, absolutely, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, Morgan. And I really appreciate you coming on to the show. It speaks a lot about yourself, and you gave us a lot of insight. I'm not gonna lie to you, Morgan. This was a dream come true. I really appreciate you joining us, sir.
Hey, look, man. You guys know how to get in contact with me. So anytime you guys want to get on, man, just let me know, man.
Oh,
We
absolutely,
appreciate that. We
Morgan,
appreciate
and
that.
best of luck to you. Keep working hard, and we're really excited to see you blossom this season, do well with the Redskins.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
having
Thank
me
you, man.
on,
Y'all
Yeah,
have a
man.
great one.
Best of luck.
You
All right,
too.
have a
man.
good workout, bro.
God bless, Morgan.
Yep.
All right, so guys, the next line of business that just came up, the NFL is moving towards playing. They just announced it before we came on air. I'm so excited, and given the fact that we just talked to Morgan Moses,
Yeah,
NFL's
man.
back, baby.
Big shout out to Morgan Moses for coming on today.
Yeah,
too.
thank you, Morgan. I'm the
Absolutely.
only one clapping right now. There we go.
That
I'm
was
trying to pretend like my hands aren't shaking.
that was a lot of fun. And look, we have to pick apart a little bit what he said, and I think he's 100% right about Ron Rivera's mindset about winning in the trenches. Because what was the one thing Ron Rivera said when he first came into the building? You have to build on your strengths. And
Right.
from what I've seen, for the most part, they have done that in all aspects. And I really hope that they can have a strong running game this season. What about you all?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at the track record in Carolina, the defensive line and the offensive line, they were pretty solid every single year, especially the defensive line with those studs up front and in the front seven. And yeah, I mean, like Morgan said, the battle up front is going to decide the game. And I think that we have obviously a top 5, even top 3 defensive line in the league. And I honestly think we can be a top 10 line with the new coaching staff coming in, the new offense, and yeah, like Morgan said, the sky's the limit this year. I just can't wait.
What about you, Reed?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that you're completely right. In Carolina, they never seemed to, after Goff retired, they never really, besides Norwell, they never really seemed to have a Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman, but they played very good as a unit. Over here in DC, we have Pro Bowl caliber offensive linemen. We have Brandon Sheriff. We have Morgan Moses. We have Chase Roulier, who's one of the up-and-coming centers in the NFL. So they can gel and get them playing like they were over in Carolina. I think that offensive line is going to be set, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. And one thing I wanted to say, because Morgan Moses coming on, I completely forgot about this, but I wanted to make sure we pay our respects. Rest in peace to Joe Bugle.
Speaking of offensive linemen,
right,
offensive
and
line,
the Redskins offensive line coach that created the Hogs.
one of the greatest of all time.
John Keim had a really funny story about how they were playing, I think, the Cowboys at the time. And he wasn't a smoker, but right before the game, he was chain smoking cigarettes, and then he went on the sideline before the game and called out their defensive line coach and yelled at him. So it kind of shows you the kind of balls that Bugle had.
Yeah. Everyone said he was a real fiery guy, real passionate guy. Wasn't scared to get in your face, let you know that you were messing up or that you were doing a good job. So RIP to him, obviously one of the greatest offensive line coaches in history, but obviously a Redskins legend.
Yeah, and Clinton. I was listening to Clinton Portis talk about him today on 106.7, and Clinton Portis was just saying how Bugle would never ever not acknowledge Clinton Portis for one of his blocks, for one of his chip blocks. He would always point it out in the meetings in the film room to all the offensive linemen and be like, "Look at Clinton back there. Look at him picking it up. Look at him saving you." So it was a cool little thing to hear that he's just giving everybody advice, getting everybody put on.
Yeah, and then the other one I heard was Chris Samuels, I believe, was on 106.7 today, and he talked about how he wasn't playing at a high level, he thought, until Joe Bugle came into town, came back with the Gibbs coaching staff, and really transcended him, which surprised me a lot because, Chris Samuels is a Hall of Famer.
Honestly, go ahead.
No, you're good, sorry.
No, I was going to say, when I was listening to that interview on the radio, I was on lunch break. And like literally in my head, I was thinking back, and I was like, he was playing like at a top 2, top 3 level in the league,
right?
Which is crazy to me because in his mind, he was like, "Oh, I was having a down year, down seasons," and I'm just like, "Bro, you were like still top 2 in the league. Like, what are you saying?"
Yeah. There was a funny altercation there. I really enjoyed that piece from Chris Samuels because it gives some insight. Even you could be Chris Samuels. You could be all on your way to be a Hall of Fame left tackle, and you still want to get better. And Joe Bugle comes in and actually does it, which is incredibly surprising. And the next thing I wanted to discuss, Santana Moss said he does believe that Sean Taylor's jersey number should be retired. Reed, your reaction?
I think we all completely agree. I think we've talked about it. I know it's been brought up before that maybe if not retired, it's kind of like the number 7 for a DB at LSU, where you give it to your best DB, you give the number 21 to whoever earns it, whoever earns that right. But I think that they should retire it. I mean, Landon Collins, I know really wants to wear it, and that was his idol with Sean Taylor. But I feel like so many Redskins fans just hold that number so close to their heart, and anybody else wearing it, it's going to look weird to me. I don't know. So I would be completely for it. I think that they should. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you said, I think it should be like the number 7 at LSU, that rotated around maybe by week basis on who earns it. The Hokies kind of have that same thing. What about you, Hall? Do you agree with Reed?
Yeah, I actually think they should retire and just let anybody wear it. Just, I mean, like Reed said, everyone holds Sean Taylor and that number just so dear to their heart. And I mean, you see the background, you see your background.
Yeah.
Honestly, to see someone else with the last name over atop the 21 on the Redskins jersey would just feel
Right.
kind of weird and just kind of like
Yeah.
I just can't even imagine it. So I think they should retire. I know the Redskins don't retire jerseys per se, but I think this should be the one exception. Obviously, there's more exceptions but I just think that no one should put that 21 on in Redskins history because, again, he was even in the short time he was here, he became a Redskins legend.
Right. Just what he meant to not only the fan base, but how much he influenced future NFL players. I mean, you look at every safety who comes into the league talks about Sean Taylor. They all talk about how much he meant to them because he did everything. He did it all.
Yeah, and speaking of doing it all, it seems like Dwayne Haskins is working out with every single wide receiver in the league. And the other day, he was actually working out night with Antonio Brown. So, Mike, you're a receiver. You were a receiver. You know how the position plays. Do you think working out in the dark means anything with their chemistry? And do you think AB will sign with the Redskins?
I don't think he'll sign with the Redskins, but again, I think we talked about it earlier. I wouldn't be mad if they brought him in, but I don't think he would just because we have so much young talent. I think they want to develop them and see what they have.
I don't know, man. Redskins Twitter really thinks that them working out means he's going to sign.
Yeah, Redskins Twitter's crazy. But now, as far as like the receiving thing goes, that's pretty impressive to throw the ball that far and like that deep and have that kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of that precision,
anticipation,
yeah, all accuracy. That, just the accuracy in the dark. And I know they had like car lights on, but I mean, he was throwing with McCole Hardman today, who's one of the fastest people in the league, and he was hitting them on dimes,
dropping dimes. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited, man. The deep ball is going to be live and well in DC again.
Yeah, look, I do think there is some smoke to the fire. I just don't know if the Redskins are going to be the one pulling the trigger. Like we said, look, Dwayne is working out with everybody, so I don't think him working out with AB is a direct significance to them signing AB. You know what I mean? So what about you, Reed? Do you think he's going to sign here?
No, I don't think so. I think that like we've talked about in the past about this, obviously they have felt the need at one point to bring in a wide receiver because they went after Amari Cooper, but I think that after the draft with Antonio Gandy-Golden, and I think that they're kind of set with where they're at to bring in somebody with the track record of AB, just with off the field stuff. I just don't think it really makes too much sense, as much sense as it makes from a skill position. Like we have that need. He's one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL, but just locker room wise with a young team who's trying to change their image, it just doesn't really make sense. So I don't think it'll happen. But I wouldn't be mad if it did. Look, I would love to give him a shot. Like we talked, he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Like he's that talented. It's just he's got to get it together.
You make it a low contract, like the Cam Newton contract, a minimum $1 million contract with incentives or whatever, and you see what he can do. Obviously, he's still in shape, and obviously he's a huge playmaker, Hall of Fame talent. Probably, if he gets back in the league, probably going to make the Hall of Fame one day. But I just think, like Reed said, we're a young team. Rivera's trying to change the culture, and I don't think he wants to bring any possible disruptions into the locker room until it's a solid locker room that they can actually handle the disruptions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of the things that was on Redskins Twitter today was that Matt Ioannidis was selected as the most underrated Redskins player right now. So Reed, you're nodding your head. It looks like you agree.
100%. Anytime everybody every time we talk about that defense, everybody's always like, there's 5 first-rounders on that defensive line. You got Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and they're bringing up these guys, but it's like Matt Ioannidis might actually be the best defensive lineman on this team right now. Like Matt Ioannidis, if you really dive deep into his numbers, especially according to Pro Football Focus, the number of pressures he's had, the number of hurries, he's very disruptive and he's very talented. And I'm not sure that he's not going to be the center point of this defensive line this coming year. I mean,
Right.
from the interior, like he's so talented. It's a good problem to have, obviously, but I 100% agree. Everybody always seems to forget about him, and he honestly might be the best one right now.
Yeah, and like when everyone talks about switching to a 4-3, they immediately think that's like less defensive linemen, you know. But in
Right.
reality, I think Ron Rivera's defense last year, they were in a 4-3, maybe I think 20% of the time. So it really doesn't even mean all that much. And like you said, Reed, with Pro Football Focus, they rated him as one of the most disrupting interior linemen last year. So Hall, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like Reed was saying, he gets kind of gone unnoticed in the whole first round talent thing, and not really talent, the whole first rounders drafted. But if you look at the numbers and dived in, like you said, watch the game film, Matt Ioannidis is playing at a first round talent type of level right now. And if you want to go back 2 years, again, he was I think one of the highest rated pass rushers in the league.
Yep.
Before he got injured his shoulder and kind of like went down. He was on pace for just huge stats and huge numbers. And yeah, he's definitely underrated, in my opinion, and obviously Redskins Twitter's opinion, definitely the most underrated Redskins right now. And I'd have to agree.
Yeah, and so it begs the question, is Matt Ioannidis the best draft pick that Scott McCloughan selected?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Well,
I
John-
think so. If you
Brandon
just
Sheriff.
take a look at
yeah,
if you just take a
I was
look at
gonna
where
say
he was
Sheriff
picked and the
between the
production
two.
that you've gotten.
yeah, exactly.
If you take a look at where he was picked and his production, I don't think that you can argue against it. Well, he was a 5th, 6th round pick. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
Temple, yeah.
Being an alternate to the Pro Bowl last year and putting up the numbers that he has. I mean, yeah, I just think that you would have to say that.
Yeah, and with so many assets along that defensive line, you know, it only makes things so easier for Matt Ioannidis. There's not that many eyes on him. There's not now with Matt Ioannidis getting a lot of attention. What's that going to do for Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen? And then we're not even talking about Chase Young yet. I mean, and then Montez
Right.
Sweat. And so it's a laundry list of just possible pass rushers. And like Morgan Moses was saying, you know, if you win in the trenches, you can win the game. And I think one of the biggest questions, though, is on that left side of that offensive line. But hopefully going against this defensive line every single day is going to make them a lot better. So do you think that the offensive line, Hall, is going to take that extra step this year, is going to match the kind of productivity that the defensive line is putting out?
Yeah, just for the whole thing, if they can get in there soon enough and get that gel together and get that bond together. I mean, going back to what Morgan Moses said, like they've built that kind of off the field chemistry and in the Zoom meetings, and the guys know each other. They've been playing next to each other for going on 3, 4, 5 years now. And yeah, if we can get that left side sewed up, which again, everyone thought the left side was going to be a huge problem last year with Donald Penn and Eric Flowers coming in. And that was actually one of the stronger sides of the line. And yeah, so I think that if they can get in the building and get that because obviously everyone knows the offensive line has to take, when one person takes a step, all 5 people got to take that same step.
Yep.
And I think with the right amount of time in training camp and with everything going forward in the NFL, it seems, I think that they can get back to that top 10, top 12-ish in the league. And that's going to do wonders for the run game and the play action deep passing game with Dwayne.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with you. What about you, Reed?
Yeah, I think iron sharpens iron, and I think that offensive line going up against that defensive line every day in practice is just going to work wonders for them. I mean, they have some natural ability. They have some very talented players on the offensive line. They have a very talented offensive line coach. They have a very good scheme that just benefits them. So I think they can't. I think they're in a great position to succeed, and I don't think that they're going to. I don't think that they're going to regress without Trent. I mean, they played without Trent last year. I think that they're only going to take a step forward, kind of having that whole cloud of Trent Williams hanging over them still not there anymore. I think that they're going to take a big step forward.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, Reed. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But one of the funny things I saw come across Twitter today is that Johnny Manziel tweeted. Did you guys see this? He tweeted out, he said he was enjoying retirement. And he had a like picture like at the beach, like sitting in a condo. And someone, I think Matt responded was like, "Retirement from what?"
Yeah, the retirement wasn't your choice though, Johnny. That's the difference between
you retired from the party life.
That's like getting fired at the age of 23 and being like posting a picture on the beach and being like, "Look, I'm having so much fun being retired." It's like you didn't retire, you're fired. Like you were bad at your job.
Oh man, that's just too bad. It's funny.
He had another tweet after that was like, "You know, y'all's hate makes me thrive," or something like that. He was probably responding to everyone. Probably frying up on Twitter, so he probably responded to them.
No, the best thing ever was when the like the very beginning of the quarantine and like the whole virus is going on, he like tweeted out to people on Snapchat, was like, make sure you guys stay safe, stay inside. And he literally was recording himself while he was inside of a golf cart with his buddies. Like he wasn't even driving, his buddy was driving the golf cart. And so I pointed this out and somebody was like, "What's wrong with you? He's just trying to tell people to stay safe." I was like, "Nothing wrong with me. The dude's just telling people to stay inside. He's not inside."
Yeah. How long do you think Johnny Manziel is going to hold on to this fame that he got from being good in college? Do you think he's ever going to let go of that, or do you think he's going to be like 44 years old, still getting hammered drunk with girls on beaches and just being like, "I'm Johnny Manziel"?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know. I still see that guy from
the Uncle Rico that I can throw a football over the mountains, I bet.
I still see like DJ Pauly D like still have commercials, so I'm sure Johnny Manziel can still milk.
Yeah, but DJ Pauly D at least still has shows. I mean, he's a tool, but he still has shows, apparently.
I'm sure he's pulling in money from being like a motivational speaker at places and stuff like that. He's probably making.
What's Johnny Manziel's motivation?
Do cocaine?
Yeah. Supposedly sober.
Come here. I'll give you some motivation, kid.
I'll tell you how to not screw up your life.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's true. Look at me. Don't be this.
Right. Yeah. Maybe get yourself a Mike Evans, and then you can make a career off of it.
Yeah.
That's
no, but in all due respect, I hope Manziel does and shapes out pretty well.
He's been doing his thing lately, so good for him. Just not his football thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anything else come across? I can't even think right now. We were so bent up over Morgan Moses. I'm just all.
Well, one thing I'm pumped that Morgan talked about was that he also thinks Dwayne is going to have a big step forward this year. Like, I think it goes a long way that your offensive lineman, your starting right tackle, is saying like, "Look, this guy. What I noticed the work that he's putting in, and he's looking really good right now, and I see you, Dwayne, and keep doing it." Like, I think that's awesome. You want your teammates to have faith in your quarterback, especially Morgan saying that Dwayne's his brother.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. The fact that he was basically like, that is his dude. I was not expecting that kind of response.
Yeah. For him to say that too, it just goes to show that Morgan, obviously, he seems like a real dude. He's not just going to say whatever to just like say whatever for an interview. So for him to say that really means like, I put like 1,000 pounds of like confidence behind that, so I can't wait.
Yeah, and Morgan is an incredibly smart dude. I mean, he went to Virginia, which is like the Ivy League of the public colleges, if you will. So him saying that, I think, speaks a lot. And then him picking Dwayne to be the one to make that huge step this year just goes to show that it's not just the fans that are feeling this energy from Dwayne. It's also the players, which is incredibly infectious. And when you already have guys in the building like Terry McLaurin and everything, it's a very positive thing to see, especially given with what happened last year. And so I think the Redskins can take a big step this year. Morgan was here, like for like the lowest of the lows that you have to think about over the years, and for him to be this excited and talking about this team like this, I mean, that was the biggest and most surprising thing to me.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that it just goes to show you. He was talking about just how much talent the Redskins have had. And when he said that, like before we went on and we were kind of talking to him, and he was talking about just how much talent we've had over the years, and he started naming players, I was like, damn, he's completely right. Like we did under Chi. Like we did have there. Yeah, like we had so much talent, like just looking back on it. And he's completely right. We should be a very good team. I think that we will be.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. So, guys, I think that's going to max us out for today's episode. It's going to be kind of a brief one, but a very important one to say the least. Thank you so much to Morgan Moses for joining us tonight.
Another round of applause coming through.
Everybody, make sure you check out the Morgan Moses Foundation as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Remember, you can go and find us on Facebook, on iTunes, on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on Good Pods, a new app that has all of your podcasts available for you right there. You can search and actually interact with your friends on a social scale on Good Pods. So make sure you go out and download that. And also make sure you check us out on Thursday. We are joined by special guest Adam Aniba. We had him on a couple months ago, but the mics weren't here. So now that we have a full show, it's going to be a lot of fun with Adam Aniba. He writes for the Burgundy and Gold Report. He's a very, very smart guy. He knows his stuff, and I can't wait to get his insight on Thursday.
Very nice, very nice.
All right,
I
everybody.
can't wait.
My name's Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And I wish I was 16 years younger and a woman.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Burgundy Zone. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Redskins football. Woo!
Yeah.
Audio Jungle.